worshipped. Every woman is revered as the embodiment of Devi Parashakti herself. And in that way, we have seen how there has been no form of justice served, where even until today, there is no way, there is no even a hope other than the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism for the revival of these great ancient lineages. And if we see even the state of Hindu women today, whether it is the abysmal statistics of the women who are suffering domestic violence, women who are suffering brutal rape and assault, women who are not even able to go out into the streets without fear of being gang raped and murdered. This is the reality of the femicide ongoing in India. And it is only the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism who has been continuously advocating for eliminating this violence for the last 2 decades. And only through the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, these crimes are being reported in their real form, reported truly to the international audience. The United Nations, for example, has finally been able to recognize and see in clear reports how the women in India and Hindu women are being targeted for violence, and continuous forms and acts of violence are being enforced against them. And finally, we are able to see how if we're not able to do the acts and work of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and we're not able to bring the work of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to the international audience and show what has happened, the real persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and Kailasa, this will mean the end and worsening conditions of women and humanity itself. You're able to see here the various visuals of so many different attacks against the Adinams and attacks against the women of Kailasa. I can go on naming the names of so many of my sister sannyasis, of Rudra Kanyas, who have literally been devastated, mortified, brutally violated, and dehumanized to the point of desensitization itself, and not being able
Just be alive for next 3. Just be alive for next 3 years. within next 3 years. Just don't die within next 3 years. Be alive, somehow be alive. I'm working sincerely. I will reach you somehow. Somehow I will reach you. It's my commitment to humanity. Just don't die within next 3 years. I will reach you wherever you are, whichever corner of the world you may be. I will reach you with enlightenment. You manifesting the space, state, powers, being, Parashakti. It is possible, and it is possible for you. Shiva will reach you with enlightenment science. I know he is going to do the job. Just be alive for next 3 years. Nothing else.
What I mean by the word Kailasa, listen intensely. Enlightenment ecosystem.
Nityanandam, welcome back to all the viewers. As we have been discussing and we've been understanding, I hope each and every one of you can also share your experiences or share your thoughts, your comments, or your anything in the comment section down below, or you can share in Facebook or on YouTube and share what you feel. Share as a Hindu what we need to do today in order to make sure that we stand up for protecting Sanatana Hindu Dharma and protecting and eliminating all violence against women. I invite each and every one of you as well to share the links on the links for the report. The UN Special Rapporteur for Femicide has featured the report that Kailasa has provided on the acts of femicide against women of Kailasa, and has recognized the amount of work the Supreme Council of Hinduism and Kailasa has been doing for eliminating violence and eliminating all the different acts of violence against women. And in this link, you'll be able to find how among all the different civil society organizations, Kailasa is able to, is representing and showing the amount of work being done in order to eliminate femicide and gender-based killings in India, as well as against the global Hindu diaspora. And we're trying continuously to end the Hindu Holocaust, the Hindu genocide, and giving a voice to the thousands of victims who have been under so much of attack for so many years. Whether it is the Bengal famine, which happened in 1940s, or any of the different attacks that have happened, the victims of this Hindu genocide have continuously been finding so much of attack. And as you can see here, the women of Kailasa are simply trying to help one of their collapsed victims, trying to help them, rush them immediately to the hospital. And while that's being done, they're being under attack and trying to make their way through every single one of the people who is trying to attack. And literally trying to rush their sister sannyasi to the hospital. Not only that, even in Trishulam, a similar incident occurred where a raid of more than 300 guerrilla forces had attacked the Adinam and had stoned all of the people, stoned all of us. And little did we know that one of our sister sannyasis had been literally brutally raped during this attack. And when we found her, we had to immediately rush her to the hospital. But all of our cars were entirely broken down. All of the tires of the cars and the vehicles were punctured. There was no way for us to even find a way to rush our sister sannyasi, who had been literally losing her life, and to the hospital. And so at this time, we had to make an emergency call to one of the devotees of Swamiji in Chennai. And just within 20 minutes, we saw how he showed up, and out with the grace of Swamiji, we were able to save our sister sannyasi and make sure that she is alive today. Because of only the blessings of Swamiji, we did not lose her that day. And like this, I can share the horrifying stories that I myself have heard from so many different women of Kailasa, sannyasis who took up this lifestyle in order to live the sacred sentiments of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, who stood for the truth and who stood for the truth of what the who stood for the truth as well, and stood for the cosmic truth, to live and know that these truths would be the best way to live in this day and age. And yet there have been so many different attacks, so many different victims of attacks, even children who have undergone these attacks. As you can see, the anti-Hindu militant forces, the first thing they try to do is destroy the CCTV camera footage, and they throw stones at it. They literally throw it to the ground, and then destroy it further, and make sure that we have no evidence to show, and therefore we are not able to make the legal recourse happen, and we're not able to show the police, the judiciary, the substantiated evidence for the crimes that have happened against us. In so many attacks, we have seen this happen, where they're simply not able to provide the evidence because the anti-Hindu militant forces went to an extreme to destroy all forms of evidence. And not only this, but in the media, they will absolutely fabricate the entire sequence of events and twist and manipulate it such that there's no end to end of any of the entire event, and the Hindus are projected as if they were doing some crime. Again and again, we have seen how different land disputes or something or another is always be projected as if the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and as if the peaceful sannyasis of Kailasa have been doing something wrong, and always twisting, lying, manipulating in the media to create and generate propaganda and program the entire public entirely to silence and confuse them, to make sure that they will not be able to say anything or take a stand for the public. And we've seen this even in the Palgar issue, which happened last year. Already, the media has had an agenda to defame, decharacterize, dehumanize the sannyasis. And when 2 Hindu sannyasis were handed over to the mob and brutally assaulted and killed, literally, the the media later on simply was able to get away by saying that 2 thieves were murdered in Palghar. But these Hindu sannyasis were leaders and mahants of very esteemed Hindu organizations and ancient Hindu apex bodies. This is the reality of the crimes done against Hindus. This is the reality of what we have continuously seen against Hindus. And continuously, we've seen how this has been happening in the media, and continuously how the judiciary and the police never accept any kind of our complaints, and we have been unable to resolve these conflicts that are happening because of the vested interests of these anti-Hindu militant forces and deeply rooted corruption inside of the institutions that are at power. Finally, today, the UN Special Rapporteur for femicide for the UN has literally been able to recognize what has happened against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the women of Kailasa. And only due to that, today, we are able to find some hope in being able to continue and practice our lifestyle, the Hindu lifestyle. So I invite each and every one of you to take a few minutes, and you can share on the different social media platforms. You can share in the different social media platforms about how the UN has recognized persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. You can use the hashtag UN recognizes the persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and you can go ahead and share in all the different social media platforms where you are active, whether it is YouTube or Instagram, Twitter. Make sure that you are voicing out right now. And you can, again, please use the hashtag Hindu UN recognizes the persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And let us spread this news as much as possible, especially during this month of the Hindu Persecution Awareness Month. And during this month, you can use the hashtag against persecution as well. And this will ensure that we are doing our best, doing as much as possible in order to stand up for Hinduism and work to eliminate violence against Hindu women and work to eliminate violence entirely from the whole of the world. As you can see in all the visuals that have been being projected, this is a collection of just a few of the footage that has been taken where sannyasis, desperate to be able to capture what's going on, the violence that is happening against them, are just have shown us how time and time again, month after month, year after year, the attacks against us have not stopped, and literally being brutally violated, being brutally attacked by the anti-Hindu militant forces. And I can even share from my own perspective how in Trishula, we were all literally holding on to each other and trying to protect each and every one of us from the attack, as they were stoning us to death, almost to death. And we're all trying to find shelter in a corner of our cabin and holding on to each other, praying to Swamiji that he would end this. And as you can see, the footage, literally, we were desperate to help our sister sannyasis as well. And ensure that they do not lose their life. In some circumstances, brutally raped and bleeding profusely. In others, having literally fainted from the amount of trauma that they were going through. These women were going through so much. And we went to the extremes to try to protect ourselves, and only due to the protection of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, even us, some of us can say we are even alive today and surviving today. Time and time again, we have had so many different attacks, and I request each and every one of you to go on social media and please share the news, share that finally the UN has recognized the persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and it's only due to the work of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism that we women of Kailasa have a place to voice out to voice out what has happened against us. And I personally have taken the interviews and sat with more than 70 victims from Kailasa, women who have come from all different kinds of backgrounds, who are well educated, who are from orthodox traditional families, who decided that this life of sannyas, the life of being a Rudrakanya or a yogini, was the best kind of life that they could take up. And that was exerting their freedom, their religious freedom, and their freedom in the most supreme way. And yet, they were still subject to the most brutal types of violence. It is time. We need to end this. We need to end this violence. We need to end all forms of violence and ensure that there is no violence further. It is only the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism who has created a place, who has manifested a place where in the community there's no discrimination, there's no intimate violence, there's no violence even in the streets, and a woman can be absolutely safe, feel secure in their whole life. And that is the power of the spiritual truth that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been teaching for more than 2 decades. So I request each and every one of you to share in all the different social media platforms. Take a few minutes right now, and after a short break, we will be concluding this program for today with the power manifestation, and you can start manifesting Shaktis right now. So we'll be right back with you after a short break.
3 years. Don't die within next 3 years.
नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वदी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि. Let's go through the disclaimers. Security measures. No photography, video, audio recording. Important cautions. Please be aware of the important cautions. What is power manifestation? Let's hear from Bhagwan himself explaining what is power manifestation.
All the 25 states of consciousness, when they happen in you, due to your chemicals and hormones ups and downs, it is powerlessness. When it happens in you, out of your free will and consciousness, it is powerfulness. That's all. When you fall into sleep, it is powerlessness. When you enter into sleep, it is powerfulness. When you fall into dream, it is powerlessness. When you decide to dream, it is powerfulness. So I have added the ultimate powerfulness, Turiyatita, being and doing, manifest all the powers. Understand, power manifestation is nothing but cognitive shift. It is not work. It is cognitive shift. Understand? It is just cognitive shift. Work is a 4-letter word. Power manifestation is cognitive shift. Playing with life. Playing with being alive.
Beautifully, Bhagwan explains what is power manifestation. Power manifestation is the cognitive shift from what we understand as matter, our body and mind, to the superconscious space as reality. And it is a science of everyone can experience. It is a science, and the evidences supporting the science, Shastra Pramana, scriptural references, the eternal unchangeable truth revealed in the source scriptures, which are Vedas and Agamas. Apta Pramanas. Who are the Aptas? The experience and the results of the Aptas. The Aptas are the Rishis, Munis, Ganas, Nainamas, Alvars, Siddhas. All of them, millions of them, have had the superconscious breakthrough from human to superconscious being and manifesting all the beauty of Hinduism. And Shakshi Atma Pramana, account of His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Nityananda Parameswaram, this millennium's avatar's personal experience of power manifestation. Bhagavan plays the Leela for us to understand superconscious breakthrough when they have the cognitive shift. Shakshi Pramana, the experience of millions of disciples, devotees, followers all around the world, initiated by Bhagavan. Through all these darshans and boons, Bhagavan initiates, graces us with all these great ways where the power manifestation happens in each one of us. Pratyaksha Pramana, the scientific study measuring the effect of being in the thoughtless space. Here, measurably, we can see that for Balasans, which disciples and Bhagavan himself have demonstrated scientifically that are doing your power manifestations. Beautifully, Bhagavan starts with a Shastra Pramana. The Shastra Pramana are the eternal, unchangeable truth revealed in the source scriptures, the Vedas and the Agamas. The Shastra Pramana for the power of mind reading is from the Shiva Sutra 1.15. Pramana are the unchangeable.
From the Shiva Sutra, Sutra 1.15. Hridaye chitta samghatad drishyaswapadarsanam. Hridaye chitta samswapadarsanam.
Bhagavan Parameshwara says, when the individual mind is united to the core consciousness, every observer or the objective phenomena and even the absence of the very objective phenomena is directly experienced as a form of consciousness and appears in its existential reality as it is. Bhagavan says each sutra can be a religion by itself. So powerful they are when we understand the steps that are given here. beautifully to us having our conscious breakthrough, conscious certainty to happen as our reality. The greatest science that Bhagavan has given us to understand when we let go the root patterns, the idol. Bhagavan beautifully gives an example of a wave. How a ocean has so many waves, but one wave decided to take the pebbles and sand and try to build a castle and have subways, small waves, and have live there eternally ever after. But is it possible? Even in a minute, it will be merging into the ocean. Same thing, all of us. The one thing is certain, which is truth, which is reality, which is certain for each one of us, is the death. How we are all sleeping state. Everybody in the world is happy about one thing, is sleep. He has to go through the death. But understanding the death, how Nachiketa understood the death, success in life is the only reality. How death can be success in life. One who understands death understands life, because you understand the bigger picture, how you experience the higher reality. That which is not there is what is dying, and it's like a shadow. It comes and goes. It's like a mirage. It is never there, but we think it is there and it goes. Bhagavan says there is no birth and death. It is itself a delusion. You are eternally present and eternally available. There is nothing as you have something other than the eternal. So all of us, if we understand that very observable and objective phenomena, and even the absence of every objective phenomena is directly experienced by the consciousness, whether you are eating or the process of eating or the food itself or you itself, everything is quantum. Everything is happening in, but we give a label, a name, a form, and try to bind by that. We are bound by all the labels that we are given, which drops us from what more and more we align to Paramashiva's space in us. What happens if I remember Paramashiva in me again and again? I am more aware. The awareness becomes aware of everything. That is the most beautiful space when we let go the incompletion and make it redundant. How whatever happened in the previous birth, we have no idea. Whatever happens in our dream, we are okay with that to drop it. Even if somebody had slapped us or some vehicle has run over us, we don't have any problem. We get up and are normal as we are. But whatever happens, that is where we make a mistake, Bhagavan says. Hold that understanding that the perception is wrong. The way we perceive is the whole problem. How we exist as a quantum, as Paramashiva, as the pure space of oneness. If you're in oneness with your hands and legs, you don't hurt each other. You are very compassionate. If one of them doesn't work, the other is supporting completely and makes sure the other functions so beautifully. That's why Bhagavan says, if you understand how your microcosm works, you know how the macrocosm works. If you know, go beyond that emotion that you are holding with anything outside, then you can have the control over any of the oceans outside. Beautifully, Bhagavan gives the great signs, experience the higher reality. Seconds. We can experience the oneness and start growing into Apta Pramana. Apta Pramanas are the Leelas of the avatar. Such a beautiful avatar, Krishna avatar, where he shows to Yashoda many times his mouth, where, like how we see on the television, he's able to show and engulf her. She goes into samadhi and she goes into the space of, after that, Krishna cries, she comes back as a mother and tries to take care of him, forgetting everything. That is the Maya's job, the delusion job. Delusion and liberation is happening to us all the time. It is we who choose what we want. Now, Bhagavan himself beautifully explains the signs.
I felt somebody was intently looking at me. I just turned. I saw Amsananda Swami only. He was only staring at me. Too strongly. He was staring at me. I asked him, why you are looking at me like this, Baba? He said, when you were explaining intensely, I understood whatever you are sharing, it is directly from your experience. So I wanted to look in. Whatever is in your inner space, I just wanted to grasp. When I looked in, I saw it's a whole cosmos opening. I got frightened. You turned towards me. He said he was trying to look into me to understand this whole verse as it is from my inner space. But in my inner space, he only saw the cosmos. He got in and started losing himself. I just turned my head. He said, I can see very clearly. Everything is from directly your own experience. These people are blessed. Few of the devotees who were listening, he said, these fellows are blessed. Agnena yasupataraye asman vishwani deva vayunani vidvan yuyot yasmajjuhuranamena bhuyishtam denama uktim videma. Listen. Agni is the knower of all our actions and all that is worth knowing in the universe he knows. Please understand. Anywhere knowledge happens, Agni has to be there. Without Agni, knowledge cannot happen. All the spaces, planets where Agni is not possible, knowledge is not possible. The modern day scientists are searching and trying to find if there is a place with water, human beings will be there or aliens will be there. I tell you, no. If there's a place where Agni can happen, only there life can happen, knowledge can happen, nowhere else. Only where Agni can happen, knowledge can happen, life can happen, nowhere else. Agni. Who is knower of all our actions and everything worth knowing. Whatever is worth knowing in the planet Earth, Agni knows it. He knows it. The Upanishadic rishis are addressing Agni as knower of all our actions and all that is worth knowing. Then they pray, you must take us along the righteous and auspicious path of completion. You must take us. Please understand. The prayer is not casual, very deep, detailed. You must take us along the righteous and auspicious path of completion. Subhadharaye asman vishwani deva vayunani vidvan. You must take us.
Beautiful. Manifesting. Beautifully, Bhagwan explained how the science of consciousness, when you understand the higher realities, you can understand the bigger picture and things fall in place so easily. Agni is the pure knowledge where we start experiencing the oneness and understand the highest reality. Here, the power of mind reading, this devotee has shared how she saw the flag, the line, the eye, silver string, everything with respect to the plane or features. And this Paramashivam level 2 participant had the mind reading this picture very clearly and so beautifully she has described the whole detail. Manifestation is the way we need to exist. That is not supernatural. That is the very nature of each one of us. The very nature how we exist. But unfortunately, we are caught up with the societal norms, have forgotten the science. How we started living is to carry our load and continuously live with a load. Bhagavan beautifully says a story how the Zen master carried a woman across a river, and the other disciple was so upset. How can you carry her? And he stayed like that without asking the Zen master till the end of the day. And the end of the day, he asked the master, why did you carry a woman? We are not supposed to touch a woman. And he just went by the words, but the Zen master beautifully answered. He said, I carried her for few seconds, you carried her for few hours. Who is that who's carrying more? Each one of us carrying our identity, thinking it is going to benefit us. It is not going to benefit us in any way, Bhagavan says. All we need to do is surrender that and experience the oneness. Paramashiva leading us as our reality. We can experience the ultimate gift, ultimate reality, the higher science. Letting go our school, we go to college. Letting go our college, we go to start work. Each of the dimension that we let go, that we know already, and every night we let go our identity. We don't know whether we are a male or female. We are sleeping like a ghost without a body in the deep sleep, simply like a ghost. That what Bhagavan says. How we exist in the deep sleep and how we exist in the dream state, if we understand clearly and understand about the death, we will see more into the conscious sovereignty as our purpose of life. And that is the very core, and that is what is the lifestyle going to be for us in the coming years soon, that Bhagavan has blessed all of us to live as conscious sovereignty as our reality, as the first priority in our life. Here we are going to manifest the power of mind reading. So if you have a partner, that's wonderful. If you don't have, you can call somebody and tell them you're going to read the pictures in their mind. It can be pictures, words, or whatever the cognition is. And simply Paramashiva will give you the details when you get the approval from that person to read. It goes by the authenticity. So have a pen and paper. Do not question anything. For this session, no gadgets other than recording purpose. Very clearly, no thinking, no idea, views, opinions, judgments, anything which personifies you, drop that. Anything personify, anything that you know, drop that also, Bhagavan says. He says in the 30 days of enlightenment, drop everything, everything as burned away. And what will be left is you, the pure essence of Paramashiva. Like that, drop everything that you know and you remember as you. Just as Bhasma, how we apply the ashes and simply understand you are consciousness, you are the quantum, you are the awareness, you are the Paramashiva who is manifesting as Parashakti every moment in you, making you speak, making you listen, making you understand the higher reality. So whatever you are revealing, write it down immediately. Do not judge. Oh, I'm thinking of only a tap problem or a food problem or my kids or my spouse. Write down. No, it doesn't matter. Paramashiva is showing you that. Write down. Everything write down as Paramashiva shows. And suddenly you'll start seeing even the mind reading part just clearly mentioned by Paramashiva. So let's get into the meditation, deep meditation for a few minutes. Bhagavan has himself designed this manifestation session for us to experience the higher reality, for each one of us to experience the Paramashiva space. Now sit straight with your head, neck and spine in a straight line. Visualize Paramashiva, Parashakti Devi herself with 25 heads and 75 eyes, aware, alive, and 50 hands with all the items, all the weapons that she holds with such a grace and such a beautiful smile, and her gestures, all the things that you can imbibe in you as Parashakti. Hold that in your inner space for a few minutes. An absolute unclutching from everything. Everything is a dream. Everything doesn't even exist the way we perceive. Hold that powerful cognition in you for a few minutes. We are always thinking, always thinking. If you get thoughts run away, come back again, unclutch from it. and chant the Mahavakya. When you entangle with Bhagavan continuously and chant the Mahavakya and merging into the oneness, surrendering everything who you are and only being Paramashiva, becoming Bhagavan himself sitting there just like him. And such a joy, such a bliss, such a auspiciousness. You're not just doing the mind reading, it is also clearing all your root patterns inside you and bringing auspiciousness and abundance. All these power manifestation is designed for the higher reality, for us to become the conscious being, the superconscious being. All these balasans, throughout the day, they manifest powers. Whether it is eating, whether it is puja, whether it is yoga, it is either bending the body or materializing or Ashtama Shaktis. This is what their lifestyle is. They don't even define those as regular activity, but they only call it a power manifestation. Live that beautiful space of oneness with Paramashiva, forgetting there's anything else in the world. Continuously, when you're holding that space, chanting the Mahavakya till it becomes Ajaba Ajaba. Ajaba Ajaba is something you don't chant, you start listening. The beautiful space, that inner voice that you can listen as Ajaba Ajaba, as Mahavakya. That is the greatest gift you can give yourself. Ram Surat Kumar chanted Ramanama throughout the day, throughout his life. And Sharada Devi, every day 1 lakh times she used to chant. And for the people she initiated who doesn't chant, she'll sit and chant. That level of Ramanama they chanted, that they became Ajaba Ajaba inside. Even if they are not speaking, it is going on inside, a deep listening of the Mahavakya. Hold that space of oneness and continuously take the bhava of Paramashiva manifesting as reality in you, bringing the auspiciousness and abundance. Sit straight, put away your gadgets, continuously get into the space of oneness. All of us, hundreds of them manifesting the powers of Paramashiva right now. Experience the oneness with Paramashiva, chanting the Mahavakya for the power of mind reading.
Nityananda Paramashivoham. Om 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 Nityananda Paramashivoham. Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varni open up, manifest in all of us. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. 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 Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Vani open up, manifest in all of us. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. 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 Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Vani open up. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham.
Such a beautiful space. Now you can open your eyes and go ahead and verify whatever partner you have done the mind reading, do it authentically. It's pretty simple. When you connect to people, you just know it. How you connect your leg and hands. Everything is part of oneness. The space of oneness is the ultimate currency, Bhagavan says, in the cosmic conscious sovereignty. That everything is connected, everything is oneness. And simply if you imbibe that with a humble attitude, Bhagavan says, you will simply understand. Those days there was no telescope, microscope, there is no scope except the Paramashiva surrendering to the Guru's lotus feet. When they do that, simply they get the revelation of any of the herbs, any of the galaxies, any of the lokas beyond the galaxies. The Bhagavan says science only knows length, breadth, depth. There's something called time and space, the next dimensions, which they do not take into consideration because they don't know how it happens. And Bhagavan says so beautiful. The great rishis, they knew all the herbs is because they just surrender to the herbs, the whole humble space where they don't have the identity, they become the herb. Once you become the herb, you know what you are, and that revelation happens to you. Whether it is a book, whether it is a building, whether it is some HTML code, Bhagavan says, I just surrender to it and it imbibes into me as reality. How a great concept to learning. There is so many types of learning, and this is the extraordinary way where we just can imbibe. The mind reading is just like that. If you start understanding that you are Paramashiva, start cognizing, start holding the inner space that you are Paramashiva, then simply you can experience the oneness with anyone and remember whatever that Bhagavan is showing as reality. You will start experiencing the highest truth. All we need to do, oh, it's not happening for me. It is like Ayurveda, science of our manifestation. You start manifesting every single day and you start doing that. When you started walking, you didn't come for the walking session one day and go back and say, no, today is not my day. Every single day you fell 100 times, but you stood up and walked. When you started eating, you were putting all over your face, but you didn't stop it. You didn't say, oh, I'm shy, I look funny. You simply said to till that happens. That is will persistence. As a child, we had it. But as adult, we are losing it because of our outside knowledge, thinking there's something else in the world more important and more reasonable for us to understand as reality. But this is the most reasonable, most authentic, and most the way we understand even our breathing. That is why Bhagavan says, if you understand your microcosm, you'll understand the macrocosm also. How we exist is a manifestation. If we understand the deeper science, we can manifest anything and everything. We don't have the death and the birth cycle. We are in oneness with Paramashiva, the most beautiful space, melting you into the honey and the nectar. That is the space that you can experience. The more you start melting in the oneness with Paramashiva, you don't want to get out of it. And simply the manifestation happens. Bhagavan says, Kailasa happens as my side effect. He has no idea even that is happening. He is such melting space with Arunagiri Yogeshwara. He says he is one with him and he has no idea what else happens in the outside him. And simply you can experience that when you are in such a space, not having a doubt, not having a confusion, constantly struggling with your life because of it does not exist. That is why we struggle. We cannot get satisfied because it does not exist. How can you get satisfied of things which does not exist? If you build a castle in a dream, it doesn't satisfy us. It's exactly the same thing. Everything we perceive is just a dream. So how can it satisfy us? How can it fulfill us? All we need to experience the oneness with Paramashiva, which will manifest all these great things, what you are come here for, automatically and much more, without you stopping any of it. And Bhagavan says, you are the Brahmanya Bahuputratam, you are the inheritance of the cosmos. You are the greatest happening on planet Earth. If you are listening to these words, you are that. Even if you have stepped in the first time, you are that. because you're here only because Paramashiva blessed, because someday you had earned for it and you experience it right now. So with that context, sit straight with a head, neck and spine in a straight line. Sit as Parashakti Devi herself again and again in such a deep oneness, melting in her. Simply if you are visualizing lying down on a lap and mother is taking care, how would you feel? Or she's feeding you, how will you feel? That's exactly how you just merge into her. She is taking care of every moment of each one of us individually and so beautifully. So you can call your partner and tell, either you can scan for something in particular. People have asked for exam results and exam marks and all kinds of things. You can scan for anything, and you can scan somebody for some healing, anything that they want. It also clears their cognitive shift. It happens in their brain. It heals them in the root pattern, getting them out of all the traumas and struggles and confusions. So mind reading is not just reading somebody's mind, but also Bhagavan is entering in their mind. So auspiciousness and abundance fills in their mind. So you can ask them and write down all the details. And when you finish the Mahavakya, you will be in such a beautiful space. You can ask them to reveal whatever they had it in the mind. It will exactly match what you have written. You will be so shocked and surprised that even you are Paramashiva. Yes, you are. Even if you don't manifest, Bhagavan says, you are Paramashiva. Just experience that. That is all is power of manifestation. Let's chant the Mahavakya. Go into the oneness with Paramashiva. Absolute unclutching from the thoughts. Nothing other than what you are here right now. Do not entertain anything, cherish anything. However difficult it is, just unclutch. We do that every night. So we know it very well. Unclutch from everything, any pain, any incompletion, anything that is a dream. You're entering into the Satya Loka where only Paramashiva exists and only you exist. Just you and him. Experience the oneness and chant the Mahavakya, melting into him, and see what happens as reality. Let's start chanting the Mahavakya with a deep listening.
Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amritapur, let the Vani open up, manifest in all of us. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Jnanam Paramashivam. 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 Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amritapur, Let the Vani open up, manifest in all of us. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eye. Om Jnananda Paramashivam. 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 Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Om Jnananda Paramashivam. 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 Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Vani open up, manifest in all of us. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the power in all our third eyes. Om Nityananda Paramashivam.
Superb. Whatever Paramashiva, Parashakti has given as prasada, please open your eyes and find out from your partner whatever you did mind reading is exactly which matches with what Parashakti revealed. Many a times even they don't know, but it's the deep innate how they would have thought about it, but they have forgotten in what they are doing. So sometimes it is not misleading, but actually they will come back and call you up and tell. Many a times I've heard they call back and say, "Yeah, exactly, I thought, but when you told me, I did not think about that, so I got confused," because there's a time lag. And simply they say, "Exactly, how did you know? I was in my heart, I was thinking about that." And it was so shocking that you came to know about it, that you got the right thing. Many a times it happens that even the deeper that what they are thinking, you can simply see it as Parashakti reveals it. And also bringing so much of abundant auspiciousness, even if you experience for few seconds. Bhagavan says 3 to 4 seconds you can experience the oneness with Paramashiva, and 21 seconds, it's not minutes. That is why it is easier than a blink of an eye. Enlightenment is 21 seconds. We can keep it together without any thoughts. We can experience the enlightenment, the conscious sovereignty as our reality itself. Understanding the higher science, how we exist and how we function, is the very core purpose why we came to planet Earth. Not to have another death and birth and delusion, but to live as conscious sovereignty as our reality. Again and again, raising to only that purpose, living only for that purpose, declaring that only conscious sovereignty is a way of lifestyle, way of thinking, way of manifesting, way of everything. That brings us to the lotus feet of Bhagavan. How Bhagavan wants each of us to flower into the ultimate reality. Surrender everything that you know and you have cognized and you have experienced to Bhagavan's lotus feet and share with the humanity. Why do I need to share? Only when I share, I am speaking about it. As long as you're just listening, you're listening randomly. If you write you're listening, you can't read it yourself. That amount of confusion. But when you're speaking, you listen to it authentically. That is why demonstration and sharing is a very important step. When you are sharing and you are excited about it, even a child walks for the first time, the mother is so excited. That is how you be excited about paramanifestation as conscious sovereignty as your reality, even as a glimpse, even if you had a Kundalini energy experiences. Please share it with the world and thank Bhagavan for showering us and holding us continuously till we are going to get manifested into the reality. Such a compassion, uncompromised compassion that he has in spite of what we are, throwing tantrum and irresponsible and what not. Just take 5 minutes to share in tinyurl.com/powermanifestation or in your social platforms and tag it to your friends and families. They will understand. If you are consciousness, they are consciousness also. If you are matter, they are matter. And that's where the confusion starts. If you are in the space of oneness, go ahead and share everything. They will bless you. And they will also feel enriched and they would also want to come and see Bhagavan and manifest powers. That is the reality, that the existential reality. Bhagavan says extreme manifestation is extreme causing. Simply everybody will surrender to you when you understand you are consciousness. Because everybody is a reflection of you. If you believe yourself 100%, everybody have to believe you. What a science, what a great thinking and thought currents that Bhagavan has given. Surrender everything to Bhagavan's lotus feet. And if you see a dollar sign, you can offer to contribute to Bhagwan Kailasa. That is the ultimate thing that we can give is Sarva Parityagi. When we offer everything to Bhagwan as our self, we start experiencing the ultimate oneness with Paramashiva. It's not just a currency, but also our integrity, our authenticity, holding that as conscious sovereignty as the highest reality and surrendering everything else as Sarva Parityagi. Even if you offer $1, a unit of your currency, it will go a long way to manifest all the reality for you. It is the science. That's why all the temples have the hundi. First thing we go is offer something and then go to the Garbha Mandir. That is the way we start expanding our consciousness, our inner space as Kailasa, each one of us. So with thanking each and every one of you, thanking Bhagwan, in the deep gratitude and earning to make Paramashiva as my reality, let's end this session with a Purna Mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Bhagavate Sri Nityananda Paramashivam Paduka Arpanamastu Om Nityanandam. Thank you so much. See you after the next satsang, next darshan, in the next sessions. Thank you, Nityananda.